I am Natalie. In my work as a healer, therapist, and in this podcast, I consult the spirits, guides, and counselors. I have been working this way for over 13 years, and this connection has existed from the day I entered this world. In this podcast, In the Heart of Being, a spiritual journey, the spirits, guides, and counselors connect me to the layers of being, dimensions, and the library of knowledge, where we connect the spirit with the body, which I love to share with you all. My partner in this podcast is José, a very dear colleague, with the right questions and a vibrant energy. Will you join us in our quest, weaving the unknown into the known? Today, José and I are going to talk about United. And it's a subject that is really close to the heart of José. And she wanted to know more about it. United, yeah. Well, united is like, we can be united on several levels. You can be united with the true you, the true part of yourself, actually. And you can also be united with the people around you, huh? But you can also be united with everything that lives. So being united means that you recognize that you are part of the whole. But before you get there, you first need to recognize your own self, because that's where it starts.
Yeah, so be united with yourself.
Yeah, be united with yourself. And that means that you have to accept yourself. I'm not very fond of the word of acceptance, but that you need to, we'll use it for now. That you need to accept yourself wherever you are at this moment, you know?
Maybe embracing yourself.
Yeah, that would be better. Yeah. Because we are very fond on certain parts of who we are, but other parts we just don't want to look at, you know. But it's who we are at this moment. And when you feel united, then it means that all your parts are welcome. And when you do that, then something really interesting happens. The way they show to me is like all these knots that are you, but most of the times there's like in the brain, you know, there are certain knots that get more attention, so they get like this potentials, they call it, gets more activated. So this is the loop you always have. So you live in a certain way, you think in a certain way, you behave in a certain way, but you also have those other knots that's still a part of you, but you don't want to know about it. But when you start embracing that part too, it's like you light up all the knots in you, and that unifies you of who you truly are. Then you leap forward. So I also believe like growing is not just step by step. It's not how we grow. Most of the times we stand still for a long time, but we're just trying to make those new connections again, not the ones we have done in many ages.
You even need to go a step back before making 2 steps forward.
Well, not always. I don't think it's like that.
No?
To be honest. No. I believe you need to stand still to see.
Okay.
But to take a step back, well, you know, perhaps we are talking about the same thing. It's not that you take a step back, but when you stand still, you can see what's in front of you. And most people say when you take a step back, then you see better. But yes. You know, it's like you stand still and you have an overview, you know, like this helicopter view you have of yourself. And you stand there for quite some time, thinking nothing is happening, you know. But in this nothingness, actually a lot of things
is happening.
Yeah. And then you leap forward like grasshoppers do, you know. And it's very interesting because a grasshopper, when he jumps, he doesn't know where he is going. They jump blindly in a way, you know. And they can jump backwards and forwards in all ways. And they always have this trust that they will end up on their feet again, you know.
I like this example.
Yeah, it is really interesting, you know, because when a grasshopper enters your life, you know something is about to happen. So pay attention, you know. And this is also how we grow. It doesn't go gradually, you know. It is like you stand still for a long time and nothing is moving and nothing is changing. And then one morning you wake up and you think, what? What happened? And everything changed. Huh? And this is when those knots that you were ignoring, you know, get light up again. So being unified in the true sense of who you are opens you up to the world, where you can connect and be unified with everything that is alive. And even those things that are not alive, at least that we say is not alive.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, when you go to for an EEG or something, you get like those brain thing with those nods on your head. In a way, you could see it like that. And then they ask you to think about something, and then certain parts light up. But being unified means
that all the parts light up.
Yeah, but it's not that they spark in a way. It's just they shimmer. That's how you could see it. For example, when someone that meditated for a long time, they have in a way
different activation.
Yeah,
yeah.
But more activation. The brain is more activated, but it's not that it spikes, because most brain spikes in a way. You know, spike in a way because we think of something and then the associations start working. But when you have been in this field of quietness for a long time, your brain is more active and actually more quiet. Huh? Dus the more the nodes are connected, the more unity you experience and the more quiet it becomes. Yeah, it's like you live in a certain city and you always take the same route. But then you start exploring and you name all those different routes, you know? And you are amazed with what you find here and there and there. And you're like, wow, I didn't know this existed here. It's also in our brain. When we just keep on thinking the same way, doing the same things, yeah, we will have the same results. But when we allow ourselves just to dive in the parts that feel a little bit uncomfortable, you know, then we find these hidden gems. And we're amazed at what it will give us in the end. So this is what unified means for me. But I'm curious, what made it for you that you wanted me to talk about this? What was attractive for you? Do you know?
Well, I think it has something very positive, of course. I think also it's all about that, uniting each other, having a connection with each other, the interest in each other.
Well, I also believe like when you feel more unified inside yourself, that you see it in others too. You know, like I always say, like when people have similar consciousness and they live in a certain plane together, but when consciousness evolves, then you come into another plane, and there are also people with that kind of consciousness, but they're less. So, but when you feel unified, you will start to recognize other people that are on that path to feeling more whole inside themselves. And by connecting with them, you make the knots bigger in this world. Do you know what that means?
Yes, but I think also it's not only about being unified with the ones on the same level. It can also be just what we talked before, being in the presence and look at other people and still feel connected, although maybe you're not on the same path or on the same, let's say, level.
I always thought it's very interesting because it's never about I have more awareness than you, you know? It's never about that. It's not bigger or better or it's just different.
Exactly.
But for me, it's always when I meet someone and they look differently at things than I do, I always ask myself, how can I find them? Where can I find them? Where is actually the hook?
Yes, yeah.
And that's very interesting because even that they can think totally different, we all live on this plane, and somewhere there is something that connects you, you know, and that's interesting. And then most of the times you're very surprised because when you find them, then they open up. And then most of the times you're so surprised of who is living inside that body. But when you think, oh, you are a certain way or you have a certain consciousness, so you're not my type, you push them away. But you don't know. You don't know until you connect. And then you will see where you find each other.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so there's always
And there's always something to learn from, I think, for yourself, for the other.
Yeah, because sometimes even that you're so different is actually very... well, I have a friend and sometimes I ask him a question and then he comes up with such a different view, which I could have never thought of because I am not him. And I'm starting to think, wow, this is interesting. I did not look at it like this. And I need to think about it. So this is also when you connect with people that normally are not in your, like
circle. Or,
yeah. Then and then they give you another view of the world, of the subject you talk about, and it opens your mind. It's not that we have to be unified, we have to be the same. No, it's actually you bring to the world what is unique. And when you embrace your own uniqueness, then you unify, then you connect.
And it's also seeing the other uniqueness in the other person.
Yeah, because when you allow yourself your own uniqueness, then other people are also allowed to be the way they are. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't allow it yourself, you can never allow it to anyone else. And the strange that you would say, well, yeah, but most people say I'm very unique and stuff like that, but those people don't understand. Well, then you did not embrace everything yet. Because they are like you. And it doesn't matter where they are, but they are like you. And they're also on their path, on their way of finding out what is important for theirs in their life. But they are like you. And even if they have different lives, different ideas, somewhere there is something that unites us. And we need to find that. And the thing that we all long for is love. Love is like the binding force of the universe. And when we see that love connects, then we are united.
Next time, Jose and I will talk about beyond time. I never believed in time as the concept that has been shared with us during our time here on this planet, in our educations. I believe in time is a free concept, and it has to do with where we are and what we believe. So I do not believe in linear, but more in circular time. But I will talk about that in our next episode. In the meantime, you can connect with us on nathalieneverly.nl and on Instagram in the Heart of Being. Thank you for listening. See you next time.